We're doing this. We are really doing this. Been thinking about doing stuff like this for a while. You don't see very much of it because it doesn't really pop up like the flat earth stuff, but figured it'd be something fun-ish, depending on who you ask. This is probably going to be a bit more politically charged for sure. But when I was looking at it, like, I agree, but there's a lot of fishy stuff going on here. So the post is from Now This Impact. The next time you're caught in a thunderstorm without an umbrella, you'll know who to blame. You've got it figured out, guys. I figured it all out. DOGE broke our weather forecast. Now everyone's mad. Weather forecasts are becoming less and less unreliable. Cuts to federal weather programs and thousands of jobs during Elon Musk's DOGE overhaul are starting to hit Americans where they least expected their weather apps. I'll get to that in a minute. With fewer weather balloons and other monitoring systems collecting data, experts say there are now gaps in the information that feeds the forecast people rely on every day. That has sent frustrated social media users comparing multiple weather apps just to figure out whether they should actually bring an umbrella. One user joked that the modern weather app basically amounts to I have no clue what I'm talking about. Well, okay, I'm going to say it right now. Don't stick to one weather app. I haven't used weather apps in a long while, and not because I don't agree with, I don't, but I use other sources because that's a lot more, you figure things out a little bit better through multiple sources rather than just one source. Also, they're not very specific. I'll get to this in a minute too when I go through the comments, but they always say weather app, but there was only one person that said specifically which app they were using, which was Apple's weather app, but I've never had an iPhone. I've had an iPod Nano, but but yeah. And this is more than just a bad forecast ruining your weekend plans. The Trump administration has cut roughly 1.6 billion to 1.7 billion from NOAA, the federal agency that tracks weather and climate and provides forecast data, and more than 800 NOAA workers have been cut since February. Meteorologists say staffing shortages have also disrupted weather balloon launches, creating holes in the data forecasters rely on to predict storms. Okay, I'm not going to lean too much on the political stuff, but from my understanding, it's not. They did. That was what happened was pretty rough. But from my understanding, they have slowly reversed some of that stuff. I'll have to dig into that. But that's not what this video's. I'll have to dig into that. But it shouldn't have happened to begin with. We can agree with that. But let's not pretend that they just cut things and just did absolutely nothing after that. In April, a storm center in Oklahoma gave residents in central Kansas a 0% chance of thunderstorms before baseball-sized hail and 2 tornadoes tore through the area. Farmers, pilots, fishermen, shipping companies, and emergency workers all depend on the same data. Turns out when you start breaking the system that predicts the weather, people notice. So I commented on this. That explained mostly on this panel. And it does show a like, but if I refresh it, it ain't going to be there no more. I guess somebody decided not to watch this. They decided not to. I guess they didn't agree with me. So, back on the last panel. Like I said, I agree with the overall concern, but when was that central Kansas storm? Thunderstorms absolutely can occur outside a storm prediction center thunderstorm area. Those outlooks are probabilities, not hard boundaries. Not hard boundaries. That's like treating a 2% tornado area as meaning only weak tornadoes can occur there. It's been about 24 hours. I've got no response, but but a lot of people, the fear mongering comments got a ton of likes. That's one of the reasons 2 tornadoes hit the Columbus, Ohio area and the sirens never went off. Remember that latest storm that happened? Was it 2 weeks ago? Okay, so August 11th, if this is the event that he is talking about, or she, my bad, she, if this is what she's talking about, um, let's say it is August 11th event that hit Columbus. So, an EF1 tornado really did hit South Columbus on August 11th, 2026. Franklin County's tornado sirens did not sound because there is no tornado warning issued for Franklin County. Franklin County's policy is to activate the sirens when National Weather Service issues a tornado warning for the affected zone. There was one. So there was one, which happened in around 10 a.m. 100-mile-per-hour winds, but no second tornado. Another thing I can look up is archived from the space. What I can look up is archives of the Space Storm Prediction Center. If we look here, we do have an outlook 3 days in advance on August 9th that does have a SIG 1 Columbus, Ohio was under a 15% chance of significant severe weather with a SIG 1. And then the next day, they were under a 2% chance of tornado for August 10th for the 11th. And then on the day of, that still held at 2%. The there was significant wind damage, which shows up here too. They were under a SIG 1 with a 30% chance of damaging winds. So there is that. But let's not pretend these came out of nowhere. They had at least 3 days to prepare. And then the reply to that is tornadoes even spotted in New York recently. Really strange. No, it's not. It's not. Mother Nature doesn't care about your politics. She'll fly and run and start you. Whatever. I don't care about that reply. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yeah, to be fair, they voted for it. Not everybody in the area voted the same way. There was an incident a few years ago. I saw Reddit cheering when Texas got hit really hard with some floods, and they cheered. And I was like, I won't go too deep into it, but I was already really upset with how my team was doing stuff, and I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't associate myself with the left, and this stuff is just validating why I left the left. But then now people are going to think, oh, I'm a right winger. No. let's put some new. You guys need to figure out, and you guys need to realize that nuance does exist. And if you think any side cares about you, you're deluded. You guys can keep talking though. Just keep validating why I left you guys, right? A lot of weather app comments. So like I said, you can't rely on one weather app. There's a whole phrase, it relies more to money to me, but you don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? I don't trust the forecast at all now. It's never right. See, most of the times when I see comments like this, I have a very good idea that they're going by only one one like the morning of, and that's not how weather works. You can get updates, like full run updates, like every hour, and shorter sometimes. It's constantly changing. This is exactly why I don't use weather apps, because they're not they're not updated like they should be. I don't think. Go to the models, guys. Run to the models. I'm gonna put that on a shirt. Run to the models. I already live in a unique climate area with difficult to predict weather, but I've noticed it's been way more off than usual this summer. Only thing it seems to be good for anymore is checking what the current temp is, and sometimes that is way off too. Another reason why I don't use weather apps like these people seem to be doing. Um, we're we don't know what app they're using. We don't know what app is getting their observations, how far away that station is, and how recent the update was. Because you can have surprisingly large surprisingly large temperature differences over short distances. I mean, that's happened with me many times, which is why I kept getting a lot of bust when I was chasing storms, because a cold pull will come through. It'd be 90 degrees, perfect time, a perfect gap of temperature between dew points and temperature. But then 500 feet later, it drops, and it's that storm's basically dead. And we don't know where that app is getting their information. I mean, it could either be a local airport or an airport from a different town for all we know. And we can test and compare data between other summers, but then you add sometimes even the current temperature is way off, which is a different set of things. I'm in Indiana, and 2 weeks ago we got severe straight line winds that ripped through my town, uprooting whole trees and destroying structures. There was zero warning. The only thing we were told to expect was thunderstorms all day. That's the warning. That's a good warning, guys. It was so bad. The rain was sideways, and you couldn't see right in front of you. It seriously felt like a tornado coming right through. Yeah, that is pretty scary, but you can't say you were told to expect weather and then say there's no warning. That doesn't make sense. You can't be doing that. You can't do that. But you know what else is missing? Dayton town. And 2 weeks ago, though, that'd be August 10th and 11th, like the Cincinnati storms, wouldn't it? It sure is. That's the same. You were guy. You like I said in the beginning. That was pretty much announced 3 days in advance. Yeah, I mean, yeah. They only look at a lot of the comments here are talking about using their weather app. She is shaking her head, by the way. Recently, I checked the weather radar app, and an hour before lunch, which said nothing more than the light rain showed light green on the radar. I take my lunch break and get stuck because we were hit with severe thunderstorm and a tornado warning. The weather proceeded to be wrong nearly every day that week. Watch out. Tornado recently hit my city and the alarms hadn't gone off beforehand. Every time this BS happens, we need to tell the unaware of how it's directly tied to this administration/Republican policies. Look, alarms not going off is really bad. It's awful. But there's always a but. Um, are we talking about just tornado sirens, or are we talking about our phone's alarm? I forgot what the whole thing is called. I have mine off. I don't really need it because I'm always looking at this stuff. Not saying that because I'm special. Oh, that's, but you know, it's really easy. We can tie this last statement if we could just get a time, a date, a state, and what that jurisdiction's siren policy is. And if that policy happened prior to DOGE or not. Because let's not pretend this stuff is new. Rolling Fork is a good example.
The town of Rolling Stone will be back.
Are we going to blame Biden now? We can. We can blame any president because this has been going on before most people were alive. I just know. I can feel it. They in the comments in this video, they're going to be saying that I support this. I don't. They skipped the beginning. they totally skipped the beginning somehow and automatically that's what people do. It's insane. That's why I'm not in any side. I used to have an app that would give me alerts like rain starting in 3 minutes and stopping 17 minutes later, and be correct every time. Who? Where? That's an amazing app. I've never heard that before. Now my weather app is like, oh god, a biblical flood is coming. Heavy rain all day for the next 3 days. So I canceled the bike ride I was looking forward to and absolutely zero rainfalls. I hate to say it, man. That's on you. I hate how stupid the fall of American society is. Congratulations, you have discovered the difference between nowcasting and multi-day forecast. And blame the fall of American society somehow. Again, we're going to be hearing it for a lot of the most said sentence in this video is probably going to be which weather app. Correct every time, right? Yeah. That's the gymnastics right there. Golly. Hang on, what? Wait. I used to have an app. Now my weather app. So it's a different app then. You're using a different app. They're not the same app, right? Get your old app back because apparently you need to share what that first app was because that's incredible. Oh god, they found me. That explains the surprise thunderstorm that hit us 2 nights ago. I left some stuff out that shouldn't have gotten wet and was lucky it didn't get ruined. I even checked my weather app, and nowhere did it say we were getting rain except for the Doppler radar. At least you used 2 different sources, but come on now. The response to that was something similar happened to me. Then Texas, the weather has been relentlessly hot, triple digits, for an outrageous amount of days. But one day my dad and I were on the way to pick up my mom from a medical treatment. Out of nowhere, a bad pop-up shower caught me and a bunch of others on the road. I could barely see due to the fast-coming heavy rain, and the temperature dropped to the upper 70s, lower 80s instantly. Sounds like a downburst. It was so weird, lasted like 20 minutes. My dad, who was driving and saw the temp dropping on the car dashboard, asked me to pull up my app and see what was going on. I did, in the app, no matter how many times I refreshed it, still said 100 degrees. Yeah, that tends to happen. Sunny, clear, hot, and no rain expected. Okay, that is interesting. When did this happen? Oh, hang on a second. Right, yeah. Did you use the app or a radar? Okay, that's where I'm confused. See, if you opened up a radar, you might have had a better look at it. I was assuming they opened up a radar, but they're saying app. I'm going to assume a weather app. Oh, yeah. That's it. Okay, I was really confused there. Yeah, okay, because, yeah. No, that's not going to work. It was literally the native app on my phone. I have a Pixel. It was crazy. I have a Pixel too. I don't use the weather app to see where the rain is. You almost had me there. You almost had me there. I was like, we actually have something crazy going on here. But then you guys said, it didn't specify radar. But then she confirmed it, that it was, it was the native weather app. Oh my goodness. Guys, guys, I pay for a couple radars. I use different radars for various uses. You don't have to do what I do to figure out what the weather is doing. There are free alternatives to what I do. Oh, come on. Put your big boy britches up. Figure something out. Was that too harsh? Keep it in? Alright, I'll keep it in. I am begging people to open up a radar. We were driving home in the rain yesterday. I checked the live radar. Why'd you put that in quotes? And told my husband, you'll be happy to know that it's not raining, and there isn't any rain in the area right now. The day before, the rain forecast changed every 15 minutes. That's how it works, yes. This is why I say use other sources. Things change constantly. The atmosphere changes all the time. Constantly. It doesn't stop. There's no stopping the atmosphere. It's water, basically, in the air. Come on. It began as less than a tenth of an inch of rain possible, yet we ended up with almost an inch and a quarter. Yesterday. That was a day before. Guys, come on. I can pull up the archive. A lot of wind reports and hail reports. Well, mostly wind. Well, let's look at day 2 of that day. Yeah, they had a chance of rain. Chance of severe weather. What's the issue? But at the same time, we don't know where they were. None of that even matters. Like I said at the beginning, even in the thunderstorm area of the Storm Prediction Center, where it's all white, doesn't mean nothing's going to happen. That's why I said there's no such thing as a 0% chance. That's just completely wrong. Yeah, you don't just need data at the location for a forecast. You need it everywhere, especially upstream from the area of interest. Look at the western half of the country. There are 0 balloon launches there currently. Without the data to initialize off of, models are going to perform a whole lot worse. Okay, we got an actual argument here, guys. Can still look at this. I can look up soundings. And, look, this is today, by the way. As you can see, most of it is from the western half. But he said this was a day ago. And he said currently, so let's look at yesterday. That's western half. There's only one in Florida. Mostly in the eastern half. Those 2 places. And just those 2 places. And the whole CONUS. As you can see, there were several launches yesterday. I don't know where he's saying there was none in the western half, but there's definitely a lot during that yesterday. This is the launch schedule. This is pretty average. Now, if they had said zero balloon launches, he did say currently, but it, that doesn't mean it never happened. As you can see from these images, it happened. That's why my app said there were no local storms as I drove into a flash flooding event in Tennessee last week. Nice. Guys, a flash flood doesn't just happen where it rained, it can go downstream. That's kind of like how landslides happen. Landslides don't always happen where the storm happened. Also, had you checked, you would see a polygon about flash flooding. Again, don't rely on one source. I am begging you guys. I knew this whenever that flood killed a bunch of kids in Texas. The weather literally said it was supposed to be clear for that week, and then a thunderstorm had appeared out of nowhere. Love that word. Came out of nowhere. Nowhere. Pouring rain causing a flood. That isn't a pop-up shower, that's bar oversight. They are definitely talking about July 4th, 2025, are they not? If I remember that, because I remember them talking about heavy rain, and I was more upset with the people running that for going with it, because I was like, they shouldn't be, because it's gonna be really rough, but they went along with it anyway. Because there is a remnant from a tropical storm moving through. This is just outright false. The other stuff, that's hilarious. This is not funny. We can't be doing this either. We've had multiple tornadoes in Kansas this year with zero warning. I'm just going to stop there. There was also a tornado in Kansas a few months ago that no sirens were raised for. When? Guys, please. This is why I get weather notifications in northern Minnesota for cyclones that are southern hemisphere hurricanes. It's a meteorological word salad here, guys. Cyclones are the southern hemisphere hurricanes? Guys, that is a generic meteorological term. But if you were getting notifications for cyclones in northern Minnesota, I think that is more of an app issue. Or your notification settings are bugged the heck. Staffing cuts don't make cyclone weather, whatever, teleport its alert polygon across the equator. To Duluth? I absolutely have noticed that my weather apps are nowhere near as accurate anymore. They never were. Not only that, but it says rain until the morning of and then changes to no rain. It has cost me personally about $1,000 in lost time/travel in my business. I hate to say it, man, but that's on you. That's on you, man. If I were using, if I had an issue that was costing me $1,000, I would probably use more than one resource. That's just me, but what do I know? By sheer coincidence, my weather app, which forecasted just cloudy skies for the evening, suddenly blared a tornado warning at me. We're talking about 18 hours ago or another time? For the sake of argument, because I don't look stuff up like this just to be petty. I enjoy cross-referencing dates and stuff because I like looking at old Storm Prediction Center stuff. It just happens to be me being petty at the same time right now. Let's say it was today. There was one tornado report. Less than 2% chance of tornadoes, but as I said before, there's no such thing as 0%. But it was said to have thunderstorms 3 days prior to. I don't know what to tell you after that. Hey, but at least the tornado warning blared. The system is working for you, at least. So, what do you want? What do you want them to do? Yep, my mom was put at risk because the radar was 20 minutes behind on all 3 of my weather apps. Bogus AF. I don't know. That comment sounds bogus too. What do you guys think? I mean, that's a legitimate issue. But which apps? If it's a radar app, there's a possibility that radar was down for various reasons. So there's a possibility that each app you're using was using the same source. Southeast Iowa got wrecked by a storm we were not warned about at all. No sirens, no phone alerts. Weather was showing sunny as trees were flying past the window. Do I need to repeat myself? It's just sick. That's just sick. Absolutely sick. Jesus. A few months ago, a tornado hit our neighborhood, and they sent out an emergency notification as it was happening. All it said was, there is a tornado on the ground, homes are being destroyed, seek shelter. LMAO, as if the notification served any purpose by then. The tornado itself had already let us know. Guys. You are not paying attention if it's gotten to that point and you're just now figuring it. You're just now seeing it. The chain of events doesn't calculate. It doesn't make sense. I mean, that's usually not the first warning. You usually get several different types of warnings usually before it escalates to that, unless we have a freak tornado, which can happen. But come on. No, we either got a freak tornado or you're just super unlucky that you're right under the Genesis. Just wait, they took all the trackers out of the ocean. The jet streams help predict our weather and hurricane paths. I don't understand. The latest status shows 104 base-funded moored buoys. My bad, boys. My boys. My buoys. Many are currently reporting 97 to 100% of their observations in real time. NOAA's Tropical Pacific TAO array is still there. I'm going to be honest, I have no clue what that is. In June, there was repaired main buoys that have been returned to service, and 5 new spotter buoys have been added. So, I mean, that's just not right. That's just completely false. The second part is true to an extent, but we don't measure the jet stream using a collection of ocean trackers. I've noticed I don't even live in a hard to forecast area. According to who? There is... What do you mean? What do you mean? Where? Give us one. I ask for one. I beg for one variable here. NOAA itself has disputed that its forecasts have been degraded, saying it routinely evaluates performance and has found no evidence of degradation. That is an important counterpoint. A missing balloon launch does not automatically make every forecast bad, because models assimilate satellites, radar, aircraft observations, surface stations, and observations from other countries. Which is true, but I don't believe the first part. I gotta look that up. Okay, so they have claimed they have disputed the claim that its weather models have measurably degraded, but that doesn't mean they weren't cut though. They were absolutely cut. The problem is the whole point of this video isn't to disagree with the cuts being bad or agree with DOGE or not. It's the fact that these posts are they're being disingenuous, and then we have all these people saying this and that when usually it's not related. I think that's a good stopping point. I've been recording for an hour and a half. I don't know. I don't think this video is going to be that long though. But yeah, I guess we'll go on to the next subject. As for YouTube, I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy. Like the video, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys next time.